right, we will call the regular council meeting to order for Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. As we gather, we are reminded that the town of Bonnyville is situated on Treaty 6 land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and is the traditional homeland and home to First Nation and Métis people today. We respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nation, Métis, and all First People of Canada whose presence continues to enrich our community. All right, we've got an agenda before us. Do we have any additions?
Just one in-camera item, Your Worship,
Okay.
legal item.
All right, so we'll add one in-camera item and a motion to approve the agenda as amended, please. Councillor McAvoy?
I will move adoption of the agenda as amended.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Next, we have the adoption of the meeting minutes from May 28th, 2024. Were there any additions or deletions to those minutes? Seeing none, we'll look for a motion to approve as presented. Councillor Sharoon?
I will move the council meeting minutes, May 28, 2024.
All in favor? That's carried. Okay, next up, we have a delegation for Portage College. Good evening. So yeah, and we do have the mic up front. If you can just have the mic on, if you don't mind, please. Yeah.
Ready to go.
Welcome. I'll give you the floor for the presentation. Do you want to take questions as you're doing the presentations or questions after?
Sure. I'm comfortable with getting questions as I go. It's really to provide a bit of an update and then to just chat about some exciting things that are going on at the college. So for sure. Before I begin, I'll just introduce my colleague who's here with me, Dr. Donna Filetichuk. I don't know if folks have had a chance to meet her, but she's our Vice President, Academic and Research. And all the activity that's going on at our college with the phenomenal growth is due to Donna and her colleagues' work. So I've invited her to be with us tonight so that she can share all the program updates because there's way too many for me to remember. So we'll just advance the slide, please. And I don't need to introduce myself, but maybe for the folks that are online, I'm the president of Portage College, Nancy Broadbent. So we'll go one more slide and just get into the strategic update. So I mentioned the growth that the college has experienced to Mayor while we were chatting in advance. We have had the great pleasure this year of having to have a third convocation.
Nancy, do you mind just having the mic just a little bit closer
over
to you? If you don't
Yeah,
mind.
sure. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
That's okay.
So yeah, we had the great pleasure of having a third convocation ceremony due to the student growth that we've had. So this July I will have been at the college for 34 years, and in a very large number of those years, in fact back to 92, we've floated around 900 full load equivalent students, which is our credit head count factored for full-time student engagements, about 1,250 head count. This year we're trending towards 1,700, and our projections 3 years out get us to about 2,200 students. So we have doubled our student numbers in the last 3 years over a very long watermark of about 900 students. And lots of that has been program growth that has either been funded through advanced education, and Donna will speak to some of those, or it's projects that are going on that are really driving huge enrollment. So a big growth for us has been in early learning and childcare because of the reduced daycare costs. And in that program, we had 600 students eligible to convocate this year. So it's just a staggering growth. So along with that, of course, comes financial health, which I'm very happy to report on because in a lot of my years, we've been doing cuts at the college and we are now in an expansion mode. So there's expanded programming, research projects. We have probably more events going on, although we didn't have our sports dinner this year. We have more events going on in our campuses than we ever have. And we have a really high number of student alumni signing up. So things are looking good. I'll just chat about two pieces briefly, and then I'll ask Donna to give you the program updates. On a provincial outlook, there's a group of us that are called the Comprehensive Community Colleges, and we just completed a provincial survey, kind of a brand awareness thing, because some of the colleges have been converting to post-secondaries, and we needed to understand what's in the minds of people that we're serving in terms of that brand and whether we need to do something to clear up any misunderstandings. From Portage College's perspective, being a comprehensive college means that not only are we kind of student-focused mostly, but we also are community-focused. So it's really about each community, what does the college need to do to serve them? And we'll talk about some exciting things in Bonnyville as we move on. But one of the things that's happened in a financial perspective is that we've had 2 public-private partnerships. And for those that are not in post-secondary, you might not be following that, but the immigration minister made some pretty dramatic decisions back in March that are seeing the international student enrollment that we've had over 3 years is going to plummet down. So our 3-year outlook is that we're back to about a break even, but at current year we're putting some significant dollars into facility and equipment modernizations, and also shoring up some money so that our scholarships and everything are protected into the future. So we've got some good money, but we've got some work to do out into the future, which luckily that we have about 3 years outlook on that. So we've got some good timing. So maybe just let's pause there and let Donna share with you the program news.
Sure. So one of the biggest things I think folks in rural Alberta always ask about is health programming, which is always a concern. And so we were fortunate in the first round of expansion dollars to get additional seats at Colate, St. Paul, and Lac La Biche for our PN program, and are able to take more students than what we've currently taken in the past. We also have a BN partnership, so a Bachelor of Nursing partnership with the University of Calgary, who did a cohort in St. Paul and are doing a cohort in Cold Lake, which the hospital in Bonnyville is supporting in terms of taking the Bachelor of Nursing students on placement with them. We also, in the last expansion round, got additional seats for primary care paramedic, and our advanced care paramedic. So those are the 2 health programs we have in our institution. It's the PN and the paramedics. So all of them have additional seats now going forward. So there's 24 additional seats in paramedicine. We are currently working with Northwest Polytech to develop medical first responder. We are getting a lot of requests for medical first responder. It needs to be approved by OH&S, and so we are working on a medical first responder pathway as well. We are also in preliminary talks with the University of Alberta about bringing nurse practitioner to the region. We know that there's a shortage of doctors, and with the change of scope of nurse practitioners that was recently announced by the government, and changes to some of the legislation, they can actually fill a huge gap in terms of meeting community needs where there's not family physicians. We're looking at it hopefully to be modeled very similar to what the U of A currently has in partnership with Lethbridge and with Northwest Polytech, where they would actually come into our region, deliver the program like they are doing for the medical programming right now in those 2 rural areas. And we would just provide the facilities for them to do that, because it is a master's level program. So we obviously, as a college, cannot give out a master's degree. So we are in conversations with the U of A on that. We are also in conversations with the U of C on vet tech and veterinary medicine, and being offered in the region as well. Through other expansion grants, we now have a computing science certificate, and are making a request to expand that to a diploma, which will include cybersecurity and artificial intelligence in it. We are making application for kinesiology diploma as well. These are all going forward to the government right away. We got our steam fitter pipe fitter seats back for the fall. We had lost them in 2013 due to a downturn in the economy, and so we are glad to have that program back starting in the fall. We also are asking for a first degree ever at our institution. We know that there's a huge shortage of teachers in the region. We are hearing from all our school division partners, so we are making a request to be offered a Bachelor of Education with the ministry, and so we're just getting all our paperwork, because it's a very large submission to get degree granting approval. So we're making that request currently as well. And the last round of expansion calls, we did ask for occupational therapy and physiotherapy assistant and addictions counseling. And so we'll see if we're successful in getting those. We also have requests in IT to get our carpentry apprenticeship seats back in our period 1 and period 2 of heavy equipment tech, of which we have the lab space for. So yeah, those are, and extra seats in community social work.
Yeah, so many of those program changes will come into place in 2025. So right as our international student numbers are going out, we're trying to grow the other programming to offset. But we also, there's a big piece that I want to talk to you about, which is trades. But we'll just go through a couple. I'm not going to speak to the slides unless you had questions about where students came from, what programs they attended, and, you know, the students, the online students are the ones that I mentioned before, which are the early learning and childcare primarily. And the interesting thing that happened at our college this year, which tells me something's definitely changing, for many, many, many years, when we ask students how they heard about Portage College, they say from a friend, you know, sort of word of mouth, that sort of thing. And this is the first year that Google was the top of the list of how they learned about us. So it tells you something about how students are finding information. And although our average student age this year was still quite high at 32 years old, there's a change afoot, I guess, in terms of our brand. So we included a slide about other things that are going on in Bonnyville, and that's really working with our high school partners and through our continuing education. We did partner in the trade fair that was in May, and we had, I'm told, thousands of people going through that, so that was a perfect experience. And of course, lots out of our driving school is happening throughout the region. And one thing that Donna didn't mention, because it's not a new program, is that our driving school is still facing a massive waiting list. We bought 2 brand new trucks this year, and we're looking to buy another one, or another 2. Yeah, so it's a program that just seems to be having never-ending demand. I think folks are aware that we have the Community Adult Learning Program operating out of the C2 Center. So we have some information there in terms of the clients that they're serving. And the good news about our Community Adult Learning Program is that we received about $100,000 of expansion. So going from 500 to about 600,000, there's some extra money that's been given to us for specific tasks on top of that. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is that the Community Adult Learning Program services are also growing. So what I wanted to share tonight, and I do have the full report here, and if folks are interested, I did share it with Bill, so whether that's in your package or not, I'm not sure. But we partnered with Lakeland College to do an analysis of what the trades demands are going to be in the region. And the main reason that we're doing it is to try to create a business case to our minister for significant trades expansion. And we knew that there were a number of projects, but we wanted to have data to represent that. So I've given you sort of just the summary slides. And all they did was look at projects over $10 million, and there are 23 of those in the Alberta Hub region, which both Lakeland College and ourselves serve. And the projects of that, of the 19 billion, about 17 of them are in the Cold Lake and MD Bonnyville region. So a significant growth in the trades in this area. And then it gives you some ideas of the projects that are kind of driving that they came across. And so then I gave you, the next slide is around the enrollment numbers, the number of trade shortages. So anything that's got a red color is where the number of tradespeople in the region, in our very own region, fall short of the demand. So when it shows a negative, that means that there's an oversupply of those tradespeople in the region. But you can see from this that we've got lots of work to do. So we have a project we've been actually sort of working on. This is what we need year 1, this is what we need year 3, and this is what we need year 5. And in this area, the demand is primarily electricians and power engineers. Probably not a surprise to anyone, but it does give us the data. And then of course that what Donna mentioned about the nursing, medical, and education. So we've definitely got some work to do on getting people trained in our region. And the jobs are on the next slide. So if you go one more slide, that tells you just the specific projects that are in the MD of Bonnyville, which will have an impact on the town, I'm sure. And then we got a slide that's talking all about new opportunities. So I'll get through that really quickly. So the most exciting thing probably for Bonnyville on this is that we took a briefing to our board on April the 24th. And about a year ago, our board went through an exercise of really understanding what did they have for facility fleet, if you will. And we're facing pressures at the time on the Cold Lake campus that it was just over full. The board felt that it was not appropriate, I guess is the right word, to be putting in for a building expansion, though when we had buildings in other communities that were underutilized. So in other words, let's get using the facilities we have. We've continued to face a limit on the space in Cold Lake, and so this year I went forward with a briefing and said, we at least need to do something to relieve some pressure because there are these trades programs that are needing to come. There is also a cohort of early learning and childcare students that we need to bring to the region based on some feedback that we got actually from you guys about the the lack of daycare workers. So on that briefing, we identified an opportunity to expand to Bonnyville. And I was given the go-ahead to start exploring, I guess, lease space. We met with Northern Lights School about the Trades Exposure Center that's been sitting underutilized, and we've had a few small things going on in there, but we did feel that we needed to beef up the presence that we have here. And the thing that we know is that once we have a cohort of staff here, it'll be easier for us to have our ears to the ground of what's needed for continuing ed and other training. So on June 20th, we're negotiating the deal, which I've been offered a very good deal from Northern Lights. Their interest is just us having more students from the schools in our programs for free. So we're going to be moving into the Trades Exposure Center over the summer. And we're bringing the electrical program from Cold Lake over to here. We also are looking to how we can expand power engineering, but we are facing issues with staff. So that one's going to be a little bit to work out. But we know that once we're in the center, we've already got scaffolding training that's lined up with Seven Lakes. And actually just this morning, I had a conversation with Ruth Isley about rigging training that a company in town is very interested to partner with us on. So that's really, I think, the most probably exciting thing. Of course, dual credit is a big piece of what will drive that. We know that there's a large number of kids in our region that aren't looking to the trades. And if we're going to get these jobs filled by local people, we got to get them interested, like, quickly. So there are some programs that we're doing with Northern Lights School. For example, we're doing a trades exposure summer camp. So they're going to be exposed, I think it's to 5 different trades. We're also looking at, with Ellis Dawn, they've identified that they want 68 RAP students in carpentry. So we're trying to figure out how we could find that many high school kids that might be interested. And it's partially why we've asked for our carpentry seats back. So there's lots of things going on there. We are hosting SiteLink with the MD of Bonnyville in September. So that'll be a way that we'll bring, we did that last year or 2 years ago in Lac La Biche, and it did bring a number of people to town, so it helps bring investors. Some of the things that you heard Donna mention about the hospital taking our students as practicums. With the expanded number of students, we've had to really look across the region and get involved with Alberta Health at sort of the highest level to say, you want these people, help us get them trained. And we've had some good movement on that. And then maybe I'll just get you to talk a bit about the 4-wing. Any ideas?
So City of Cold Lake approached us. Yep. City of Cold Lake approached us a few years back with part of the F-35s coming to the city. There's dollars that and I forget the name of the program, but there's dollars that the manufacturer is supposed to give back to community. And one of the things the city was really big on was bringing in aircraft maintenance engineering training to the city. CAE, which is an aerospace maintenance company, has a contract on the base with the F-18s right now and is perpetually looking, never has enough workers for the structural. And the military as well, the folks that are airframe techs in the military is the equivalent trade, do not get trained to the level to be able to transition to civilian life, and actually get their AMES license from Transport Canada. So we're looking for a military pathway as well for them to be able to do the training. And so it was 3 years in the making, but we signed an agreement with Okanagan College to get their curriculum, because they have approved from Transport Canada curriculum, which we secured back here in April. We went to Okanagan College. We have a list of all the equipment we need. The city of Cold Lake is putting in the infrastructure, and our hope is to launch AMES there in 2025 start date. So
that's our updates, and I know that was a bit to go through, but I'm really curious if you have any questions or if you have any feedback from us, for us on things we might be missing in our vision for Bonnyville.
I love it. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Councillor McAvoy?
I'll go first. You did very well keeping within time. You rattled through. I didn't want to interrupt you, but back earlier you talked about expanding your primary care paramedic programs in Lac La Biche. Have you considered also running part of that programming either at a Cold Lake or Bonnyville?
Want to speak to that?
So the way it's set up with the Alberta College of Paramedics is you need site-specific approval for each site. So it's not like we can just take a business program and just move it. It needs to be fully accredited when you move to another site. And the infrastructure cost on labs is hugely expensive. We just bought a $140,000 ambulance simulator for the Lac La Biche campus. And so because of all the sim labs, like to set up a lab elsewhere is probably about a $500,000 infrastructure ask. So the way the program works currently, though, if folks are unfamiliar, it's all online except for the labs. And so we have students from all over the province that take that program, but very few actually live in Lac La Biche, that come, and then they only have to come a week at a time to do the labs. If they're primary care, it's 9 weeks of labs over a course of 10 months, right? So that program pretty much is delivered online, except for the on-site lab time, right? And to set up another lab is hugely expensive to do, right? So at this time, probably not.
Perhaps the partnership is to find out who is interested in the training and make sure they realize it's available. Because we do, we were at one time taking in 24 students a year, and it was full like waiting list, and we are still filling, but we now have 36
And
seats.
still for primary care, they're still over, primary care paramedic, we get about 80 applications a year for 36 seats. One of the limiting factors is practicum placements on ambulance and in hospital, but it's the hospital placements that are problematic. And then advanced care paramedic, we take another 36, and we run about 60 applications on that one. So
we're wondering if the way to serve might be coming with that medical first responder and getting people so that they're very competitive when they try to apply to get in.
Yeah, that builds their resume for applying for
getting
PCP.
in,
It's the unfortunate part is there's really not a lot of places for them to work with just the EMR.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Yeah.
So is there an ambulance operator in Bonnyville?
Sitting right behind you.
Yay. Do we have students placed with you now? Do you know? Oh, we do.
Not right at the moment. We have taken them and we will continue to.
Okay. So let's make sure that we're doing that, so that one of the things with that program is that they do draw, like it comes from all over the province. So they're actually currently looking at their screening, and we've had conversations about points for local people to get in, Donna and I. So we'll take that back. So that still is a big demand here, is the paramedic? Okay.
the other thing too, and I don't know if it's so much in demand, because I used to be the Dean of Health prior to coming into the VPA role. The medical first responder, we had heard lots from fire departments about MFR, because EMR, you need to maintain certification with the Alberta College of Paramedics, and that was problematic, the licensing chair around it and the renewal fees, and so medical first responder is kind of being what a lot of the fire halls are doing, and I don't know if that's a demand or request here or is not. We've heard it from a lot of our First Nations communities about wanting MFR, but not sure about the municipalities and stuff for their fire halls. So.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Johnson?
One quick question, back to the hub trades region of shortages and overages. So automotive technicians are at an overage?
That's what the report showed, yeah.
I would question that a little bit, being in that industry and knowing a number of dealerships that are crying for techs right now.
Okay, that's good feedback.
Yeah. There's a number, I think all 3 dealerships in town are looking for techs currently.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll
so we
see
could-
HET as well as one that says it's down, and yet we hear the same thing from, the heavy equipment techs are really difficult to find, so.
Yeah, and that's another one too, is heavy duty techs are tough too, so I just question a little bit about that, just being in the industry, so
Okay,
just as a heads up.
that's good.
Glad to hear that there's gonna be more opportunity for the RAP program for students and try and get them into the trades. We had a number of RAP students at our location doing parts and automotive tech this year, which
Okay.
was the first time in a long time. So it's great to see, and it's going to open up with more possibilities for them in the area. So it's great to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Kushner?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. You guys are gonna be busy, holy cow.
It's busy.
If all this comes to fruition, my goodness, yeah. So just for clarification, on the international students, and it's gonna be going down, is that because you don't have enough room and they're taking more of the domestic people, or?
No, so the international student drop is related to public-private partnerships that we currently have in Edmonton and Calgary. So when we forayed into the international world, one of the things that we did was a study with Rural Development Network, and that showed that our rural communities were not quite ready to take international students, and we weren't either. We didn't understand the market, we didn't have agents. So we went in with a private partner in Calgary initially, and then added one in Edmonton after. And that's really been their teaching, we're just, we're helping with curriculum quality and oversight. That all came to an end with IRCC's announcement that they would no longer give a postgraduate work permit to the partnerships. So we're trying to flip it. And in fact, those partners had about 180 students that they had already accepted to the fall we're trying to get transitioned to our campuses. So there are open houses happening at some of our campuses over the next little while to try to help communicate with the community, what are the needs. We're looking at housing ourselves, because one of the things that was an issue in Ontario was housing. But so that's what's happening, is those partnerships are going down. And what we're trying to do on the 3-year out is say, well, we're not going to have numbers like they had in Edmonton, Calgary, but as we launch new programs, so let's pretend it might be an automotive program, we're going to try to put a certain number of international students in, because they help balance the books, right, by the tuition that they pay. And also they bring demand that we don't get domestically, particularly when we first launch. So the trades right now are not eligible for postgraduate or for what they call the PALs. So the provincial attestation letters are not eligible, but there is a group of us working on that for the trades. So that's why, is those partnerships right
You're
now.
gonna need it. I mean, it's 46,370 jobs in pathways. That's incredible numbers.
So we had last year, we had 41 international students, and we're hoping in 3 years out to have about 400. But the biggest limiting factor with that is part-time work in communities. We definitely can't, there's not 400 part-time jobs in Lac La Biche. If we move to Cold Lake, there's not housing. So one of the things we're looking at, and even with the opportunities here in Bonnyville, is what is the opportunity to bring a program here like ELCC, for example, where we know there's large demand. For daycare workers here that can support then a group of 30 international learners in community with part-time work and housing, right? So those are the things we're trying to figure out now, and distribute those international students across the region as much as possible, so.
And there's 16 beds of housing at the Exploration Center.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? No? You weren't kidding when you said you had a lot going on.
We have a lot
and
going
the
on.
programs, like that is just amazing, all the work that you guys are doing. And I'm so excited to hear that you'll be opening up the trades lab here in the town of Bonnyville. I guess just one, so you're moving some, are you gonna have permanent staff here? How many people are you looking that would be
Yes.
working out of this lab?
So
Out
the
of
electrical
curiosity.
program is 2 staff, but we're also looking at Con Ed support because the area has lots of continuing education demands, like the rigor and things like that. So we're starting out with just those 2. To do the power engineering, we need another 2. So it's kind of like that. ELCC is going to be an interesting one because we're still trying to figure out where it can go. And so anyway, if that comes, that's going to be another 2, right? Another 2 or 3?
Another 2. So to give context on ELCC and how much is growing, we have 880 students this year. Next year, we're going to have 1,100 students in ELCC, another 300 students. Right, and so,
Just can't satiate the demand sometimes.
yeah, it just keeps growing, so.
Good.
Yeah.
We're
So
doing something
it'll
right.
start small, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, that's good. All right, I don't think we have any other questions or comments. Thank you so much for making the time for the presentation, and
Otherwise,
I look
just
forward
mention
to working with you, and we'll
Yeah.
see you again soon.
I'm very, very excited to have you joining our board, and thank you so much for all of your time tonight and the great questions. We will be going the next year into a data gathering phase to renew our strategy, because we have met pretty much all the goals in Strategy 2025, except the ones we're going to do this year. So yeah, we'll be reaching out to get some feedback on that strategy from you. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank
and
you.
Have a great
And
evening.
we'll be having
You
an
as
open
well.
house in the fall to
Oh, yeah.
check out the new portage and all the changes and all the new programs, so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll be there.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You as well. Good. All right, where are we at here? Okay, next new business, invitation 2024 Taste of the Lake Open Farm Days.
Thanks, I can speak to that, Your Worship. In your package is an email from 350L Farms inviting council to attend the Taste of the Lake event being held August the 17th as part of the Open Farm Days 2024 celebration. It's being held at the Cold Lake Marina. The planned dinner includes participation by several chefs and a couple of local and indigenous chefs, actually, and as many locally sourced agricultural products and protein products as they can put together. It's a little bit of a one-off for us because the farm is actually a private business, and but that being said, they're going out of their way with this event to support and celebrate local culture and local chefs and secure local products. So we wanted to bring this forward to council since you've all been invited and get some direction as to how you'd like to handle this and possibly purchase some tickets to the event.
Thank you, Bill. Are there comments or questions in regards to this request? I know for myself, as a board member from Community Futures, I know I already have tickets and will be joining this event with Community Futures, always as a representative as well for the town, but. So, Councillor Kushner.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I don't see this as something that's going to be benefiting the town of Bonnyville in the way it's set up, and it is a private business. I would not be in favor of us buying the tickets to go there, would be my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Blanchett?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I tend to agree with Councillor Kushner. With that being said, Council does have the opportunity to support Open Farm Days by touring around the region that weekend as it is, so I don't really see the value of purchasing tickets to a private event to show our support in that regard. So that's where I stand on that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Blanchett. Any other comments? No? Okay. I guess we're good then. I think if anybody does, like you mentioned, Councillor Blanchett, if we do want to support Open Farm Days, there's a lot of events going on that day, and this not necessarily needs to be something that we need to attend. We're okay? Okay. Okay. All right. Next, Big Smoke Bonnyville funding request.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Attached is a donation request from Ryan Chernahos from Big Smoke Bonnyville, requesting a donation in the amount of $7,000 to help assist with the cost of hosting the Bonnyville barbecue competition being held on September 14th to the 16th. This is the third annual barbecue competition being held in conjunction with the Bonnyville Ag Society Fall Fair. This event has grown in popularity since its inception in 2022. For the past 2 years, the town hosted the Barbecue Bash event in conjunction with the Fall Fair with a net budget of $5,500. And in 2023 offered sponsorship opportunities to local businesses where the top sponsorship was $1,000. After last year's event, it was decided to turn this event over to the experts in this field, as they have the experience and network to grow this event and ensure its success. Administration is recommending that Council approve a donation to Big Smoke Bonnyville in the amount of $1,000 for the third annual barbecue competition.
Okay, thank you. We'll open it up for questions. Councillor Blanchett?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through to administration, I see that the budget for last year was $5,500. Did we spend all of that?
That was the net amount of the budget overall after getting all the revenues and expenses.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Councillor?
Yes, Madam Mayor, through to administration. So the $5,500 that we paid, that went straight to the Big Smoke Bonnyville. It wasn't shared between the Ag Society for the Fall Fair, or how did that funding get distributed, please?
Yeah, this was a town event last year, and this was our net costs for prizes, materials. Big Smoke Bonnyville wasn't a part of that, only to be on the committee, which was the subcommittee that included 3 of the members from the barbecue smoke community.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Councillor Kushner.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just for some clarity here, is this a nonprofit organization that's running this, or is this a for-profit organization? Do we know any of that?
That is unknown.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Councillor Langridge?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I sat on this committee last year when we hosted the barbecue bash, and as administration's noted, it was decided to encourage our committee members, who the applicant was one of them, last year, to take the event and grow it, as we felt that we had kind of hit our, I guess, exceeded our capacity from a town event. So this one, you know, it's interesting. I don't see any clarification on any levels of sponsorship or stuff like that. And to Councillor Sharoon's or Kushner's comment of the not-for-profit group, I don't believe it is a group. I believe they're working through that to try and grow this every year. I mean, I'd love to obviously see this event continue to grow, but I would like a lot more information before supporting it to the level that they're requesting, because as administration stated, you know, $5,500, that was all in for us. That was prizes, that was advertising, trophies, and all of it, and for them to be looking for $7,000, but yet we don't quite know what that cost, where all that is going to be going, or a budget for the event. So I have a hard time supporting for the large ask without a lot more information. So I'm okay with whichever way council wants to go on it. Of course, I'd love to see this event continue to grow, but I would require, again, a lot more information before approving where they're current ask is.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I definitely want to see this event grow and succeed, you know, so I do want to support them. It would be nice, however, especially at the amount of the funding that they are asking, and even at $1,000, what are some of the breakdowns of where the money is being spent? I understand it's advertising banners, but I think a little bit more clarity would be appreciated. But yeah, I would be fine at $1,000, but nothing more than that, considering those. Go ahead, Bill.
Your worship, perhaps a suggestion, after council decides how much, if any, you want to donate to this project, since they've indicated in the donation request forms they intend to do this on an annual basis, we could ask them to come back this fall as part of a budget delegation and give them the required detail that you maybe would need to make these decisions in the future.
I think that's a really good idea. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? We are looking for a Councillor Kushner.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Just, and that is, so if they're going to be doing it year after year after year, and we make a donation of whatever we decide to make, and is that going to carry forward every year? You know what I'm saying? And then, is it a nonprofit organization? Is it a for-profit organization? And so, I still have lots and lots of questions about giving them anything, to tell you the truth, until we know what's going on, because this is, the residents' money, and I think we need more information, in my opinion.
Councillor Blanchett.
I guess my other question is, are we the sole funder of this still? Because if that were the case, then why wouldn't we just keep the event and have a little more control over how the money is being spent? There doesn't seem to be any indication whether they're seeking funding from other sources either. So, yeah, I'm hesitant to grant any funding at all at this point.
Yes, go ahead, Renee.
We can actually sorry, let me start this over again. This can be tabled if you would like to suggest that, and we can get more information prior to the next meeting, which is June 25th. I was going to say July, but June. Yeah, and that'll be, what's your budget? We can send out the forms for any other sponsorship opportunities that they may have, who else would be contributing, any information that you require. We'll definitely have it for next meeting.
Yeah, a little bit of a breakdown of what the actual money is going to be used for, I think, more than just a point form. What we see here would be nice. Yeah.
I'm prepared to make that motion to table it to the 25th for further information, the same information that Renee just suggested.
Okay. Council's okay? All right. All in favor? Carried. Okay, next, another request for the first annual scholarship tournament for the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The town received a sponsorship request from the Chamber to sponsor the first annual scholarship golf tournament being held on August 9th, 2024. This matter was considered by Council at the May 28th regular meeting and subsequently tabled to this meeting in order to obtain more information regarding the Business Builders Scholarship Program. The Chamber sent the tentative guidelines for the program, which are still to be approved by the Chamber Board. The scholarship program is funded by the Chamber to support the education and professional development of Chamber members, their staff, and their children in the trade sector. This program will be funded from 30% of the funds raised at the annual golf tournament and 25% of the funds raised from Chamber trips. There will be at least 2 scholarships offered annually, up to $1,000 per recipient. Applicants must be residents of the town or MD of Bonnyville. The scholarship amount requested from the town is $1,000 as a dinner sponsorship. Administration is recommending that Council sponsor the first annual scholarship golf tournament hosted by the Bonnyville and District Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $1,000.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Councillor Schroen?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So it has not been approved by the Chamber Board as of yet, the appendix. We don't have a meeting in June, and I don't, because in June we're having the BSN meeting, so there's no Chamber meeting. So unless there hasn't been an email vote on that yet. But in addition to the information presented, I did get an email from the executive director. I need a little more information. So besides all the criteria listed, she's expecting 2 to 3 scholarships to come from the golf tournament and approximately 2 to 3 more coming from the profits from the trips. And so to at least have 4 scholarships a year. As for the selection committee, it would be the executive director along with 2 or 3 other board members to sit on that committee. And that is the extra information that I have.
Okay, any questions from council? Okay, any comments? We're looking, Councillor Johnson?
Yeah, it just, I know they have to, the students have to be in the town or the MD to apply, but it is only open to Bonnyville Chamber members, staff of Bonnyville Chamber members, or children of Bonnyville Chamber members. So it's not open up to everyone. It's specifically for whoever belongs to the chamber. So that makes me a little hesitant with this, and the fact that only 30% of the golf tournament goes towards the scholarship. So really $300 would be going to the scholarship itself if we do put in a team. And I know when we were talking budget, we had given them a lump sum and we said that was it for a year, for the year. And then this is coming now. For me, I think, I don't know if I would be in favor of this at this point. And you know, if that's going to be an annual event, we can talk about it again when it comes up for budget and when they do their presentation. That's just my 2 cents.
Great, thank you. Comments, questions, anybody else? No. Yeah, Councillor Blanchard.
I guess in regards to the eligibility and having to be affiliated with the chamber, I would say we do this every meeting, give money to people who are affiliated to certain groups. So when you look at the sports teams that are volleyball players and the hockey players, so for me that, yeah, that really doesn't play a part in my decision, but I do agree that only 30% of the funds raised will be allocated to the scholarship. So anyway, I just needed to make that point.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are looking for decision. I mean, I understand it's new. I don't know if giving out scholarships really is a mandate of the chamber. It's something new, but I mean, I'm not opposed to supporting them in the amount of $1,000 myself, but.
Yeah, Yes, Madam Mayor, based on all the comments, I am going to bring the motion forward. I don't know how successful this will be. This is a pilot project. Let's see how it goes. And in there, in the criteria, it says that the recipient must submit a progress report mid-year. So there's all kinds of reporting back, so we can kind of monitor and measure how the whole program is running. So based on the information that we have presented, and based on the chamber approving these guidelines, I would make a motion that we sponsor the event for $1,000 as requested.
Okay. Any questions on the motion? Councillor Blanchard?
I have a question on the motion. Are you saying that if these guidelines change, then you would want to see those guidelines?
Yes, absolutely.
I would agree.
Okay. All right, okay, so motion on the floor. Any other questions? All in favor?
No,
What?
before you, can you clarify your motion, because now I'm confused.
Okay, Councillor McAvoy, what's your confusion?
No, I just, because now you're talking about if the guidelines change. So what's the wording of the motion?
That was in my original motion, that if the guidelines changed, this would have to come back to council. So we're voting on it as per the guidelines listed in the package we received.
Okay,
Does that clarify?
that clarifies for me.
And sponsoring the event, which option? 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. Okay, any other questions on the motion? Is it clear? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you. All right, next, Bonneville Curling Club, letter of support request, ADCO Community Energy Fund application.
Thank you. Attached is a letter from Marcel Valley, Vice President of the Bonneville Curling Club, requesting a letter of support for their ATCO Community Energy Fund grant application. If successful, this grant will be used to replace the walk-in cooler at the curling club, as the current cooler was installed in 1997 and is past its life expectancy. Administration is recommending that Council provide a letter of support to the Bonneville Curling Club for their application to the ATCO Community Energy Fund grant for the purchase of the new walk-in cooler.
Okay, any questions, Councillor McAvoy?
No, I'll give you the motion if there's no questions.
Do you have a question, Councillor Langridge, or a comment? Okay, go ahead.
If I may, Councillor McAvoy.
Be my guest.
Oh, sorry. Just to comment that, you know, we've seen the curling club come year after year, and the outstanding job they do looking after their building, and not with any large requests, and they do such a good job. So I have zero issues in supporting them going forward.
Excellent, thank you. Do we have a motion on the floor, Councillor McAvoy?
Yes, I will move the staff recommendation.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, committee reports. We will start with Councillor Kushner.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I have to go way back into April because I missed the last meeting, so buckle up, guys.
April.
So April 25th, I had my LICA meeting. April 26th, the BRFA resiliency speakers, thanks to Fire Chief Haney. That was very well received and wonderful for the members and for us. April 27th, went to the Bonneville Snow Dusters appreciation dinner. April 29th, Economic Development Tourism Committee met. April 30th, mock collision event, which was very well received. May 2nd, Lakeshore Drive planning meeting. May 3rd, Dragonfly open house. It's good to see all the good work that they're doing there. May 4th, Hearts for Healthcare Gala in Coal Lake. May 6th, there was 2 LICA hiring committee meeting and then community policing. May 8th, Alberta Munis, we are here in council chambers for Bill 20. May 9th, went to the tour of the Hive on their birthday. That was very nice. Really like what they're doing there now. Municor meeting on May 13th. May 15th, at another LICA hiring committee meeting. 16th of May, BRFA regular scheduled meeting. 22nd of May, naming committee meeting. Then from the 26th to the 29th, I went to Alberta Fire Chiefs Associations in Calgary. May 31st, again the Hive. Oh, that was probably the birthday one. Yeah. June 3rd, community policing, and then just got back from FCM, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, in Calgary with the rest of council and Bill. That's all I got.
Okay, I as well have to go back, way back, but not way back as far as Councillor Kushner. I'll go back a little bit. I attended the BRFA EMS open house on the 22nd. It was good to see the community come out and learn about EMS services in this area and support our members and staff. I also attended the update on Bill 20 on the 24th. The 26th to the 29th, I attended the Alberta Fire Chiefs Association conference in Calgary with Councillor Kushner on behalf of the BRFA. On the 31st, I brought greetings on behalf of the mayor and the town to the 4-H beef show at the Ag Grounds. I didn't have the pleasure of participating in the auction, but I was there to have a good look at what was being offered for auction. I also attended the Hive's second birthday on the 31st. We had a library board meeting on the 4th of June, and the FCM conference, Federation of Canadian Municipalities conference, the 5th to the 9th in Calgary. And then today, this morning, I attended and received from MLA Scott Sear on behalf of Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridor Development, an award of $100,000 to the Village of Glendon and the Bonnyville Regional Water Commission to do the design study to extend the water line from Coal Lake that comes to Bonnyville out to Glendon. So that's the first step in the process. Now we're moving forward with the next ones. And that's my day.
Okay, May 29th, I had my first session of the most recent EOEP course. That one's on regional partnerships and collaboration. May 30th, I signed checks for Lakeland Lodge and Housing, followed by an FCSS board meeting. May 31st, I spoke at HEB to the grade 8 careers class and talked to them about my experience in municipal politics, and they were a little bit of a difficult age group to engage with. They were a little bit scary. So I got them engaged when I asked them what sort of things they'd like to see in the town, and of course the top of the list was a new pool, followed closely by a new outdoor skate park apparently. After that, I popped by the Hive for their second birthday event. June 5th to the 8th, I was at FCM in Calgary as well. This morning, I had an FCSS Northeast Directors virtual meeting, followed by a meeting at Northern Lights Public Schools with their superintendent and board chair. That's all from me.
All right, May 31st, I attended the 4-H sale in the evening. It was an absolute blast, and I'm extremely happy that we supported this event here in the town of Bonnyville. Hopefully they enjoyed the facility and they come back. June 4th, I attended, on behalf of ABMA, I attended a meeting in Edmonton with the Francophone Secretariat. We were invited to give feedback on how we can collaborate with the priorities that have been outlined in the government-issued French Action Plan, or the French Action Policy Plan. And then June 5th to 9th, attended FCM.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the 30th of May, I attended the Hive Society board meeting. At that meeting, the society was disbanded. Over the last year, there's been a lot of discussion over who was going to be the board of record for the Hive, either the North Zone or our local PCN board. Lo and behold, it's going to be our local PCN board, so we will be still making all the decisions and looking after the Hive under our locals, so which is a good thing for us. On the 31st, I also attended the 4-H show awards and sale. Again, echoing Madam Mayor's comments, I do hope they stay. They did a phenomenal job. Unfortunately, the weather didn't cooperate with them as much, but all the students, they did a fantastic job with their animals. As well, on that afternoon, I attended the Hive's second annual birthday, and with the rest of council, attended the FCM in Calgary. Thank you.
Alrighty, so on the 29th of May, I jumped over to the credit union as they did the Wall of Distinction presentation for Ernie Isley. On May 30th, we had a Winter Games meeting. As things are starting to move forward, we will be looking for directors to jump on and help be a part of the large board that's going to take a lot of hands-on to get this event and try and surpass when we hosted it last time. On May 31st, like my fellow councillors and mayor, we did the 4-H sale. I went in the morning to go shopping to see what we could and meet some of the 4-H participants. There was 48 students that had prepared steers for the sale. So it was speaking with them afterwards, it was a huge success being back in the Bonnyville area. So again, echoing that they stay. On June 3rd, we had a police committee meeting. On June 4th, a library meeting. And then from the 5th to the 8th, took part in FCM with the rest of council. That is all.
All right, for me, May 29th, we had an Ohana Center meeting. On May 30th, we had an FCSS meeting, board meeting. June the 1st, I attended the Ohana Family Fun Day that they hosted. They put it together in short order, and Kim and the staff did a heck of a job. And from June 5th to 9th, I was at FCM with most of council. That's all for me.
Hey, excellent. All right, next we have a proclamation. June is Recreation and Parks Month. Whereas in Alberta, we are fortunate to have a variety of recreation and park systems, providing countless recreational opportunities for all residents and visitors from around the world. Therefore, the town of Bonnyville recognizes the benefits and values that recreation, parks, and leisure services provide, does hereby designate the month of June as Recreation and Parks Month. Next, we have our Appendix A, and then on to questions. Any questions? No? All right, we have one item in camera. If I can get a motion, please. Councillor Kushner?
I'll make that